The second big release on Microsoft's calendar for 2025 just dropped, and well, south of midnight, we've been hearing a lot about this. Next and brand new IP coming out of Compulsion Games, most known for Contrast and We Happy Few. It's interesting, right? Because you got a studio here that's south of midnight. It's a 3D platformer with some action game elements over the top of it, but when you take a look at Contrast and especially We Happy Few, it's very much a departure from what they're known for. They're more, it's more like I don't want to say like walking simulator or story-driven game. I think that's probably a little bit more accurate of a description, because it's got like light combat elements, at least of the stuff that they used to do. It's kind of like Daedalic Entertainment deciding that, hey, we're going to do a bunch of point-and-click stuff, and then all of a sudden we're going to do a third-person stealth action game, and, their studio didn't exactly fare all that well. But hey, I mean, after that, they didn't have the backing of, like, Microsoft or anything like that. We're talking Compulsion Games here. This is a first-party Microsoft studio, and hey, like I said, it's the second big release of 2025, and well, the first one that came around didn't exactly light the world on fire, because you got Avowed, and it's like, well, you got just about had 1,000 people in the past 24 hours, and over the past weekend, I mean, the game conked out at 1,700 players. Okay, well, that's not terrible. Well, it's not great. Actually, it is fairly terrible given the fact that the game released. Oh my God, when the hell did it first come out? Okay, but what was the release from this thing? Okay, we got the Max. Okay, we got the release that came out February 18th, and then it's just been downhill from there. But you gotta think, right? You gotta think in the grand scheme of things, as much as Xbox and Compulsion Games, they put a lot of effort behind marketing this one in stark comparison even to Avowed, but it's available now. Okay, it ended up dropping, what was it, Wednesday or something like that? Funny, they lock replies on this. I find it to be completely hilarious. But April 8th, so this came out right smack dab in the middle of the week. So, okay, how well's it been doing since release? Not great. Not great at all, kids. 1,411 players upon release. A few hours after release. I guess that's that's where she's topped out at. But hey, the past 12 hours, the past 24 hours, you got 1,200 players. It's better than Avowed did. I guess you can hang your hat on that. Maybe over the weekend, you might get into that 2,000 club. Maybe, potentially. But, you're about a year late and several $100 million short when it comes to try to get, Sweet Baby Inc. across the line. It's hilarious how vast their connections are, right? Because they could be on first-party Xbox titles and also be on first-party Sony titles with Ragnarok. It's like, that's absolutely insane how this uniquely and totally untalented collection of hacks continues to weasel their way into the video game industry. But at this point in time, man, like we've seen recently, Sony decided to cut ties, and about the only studio to double down with them, the makers of Alan Wake, who have yet to turn a profit on that title. Oh, but don't worry, guys. It'll eventually get into the black before the end of the decade. Don't worry about it. But yes, Sweet Baby Inc. game, south of midnight, flops hard. Another SBI project crashes on launch. But hey, okay, how involved was Sweet Baby with this title? Okay, were they just, on the outside looking in? Were they just simply, as they put, we're a consultancy company, okay? We don't do anything in particular. We just offer notes. We don't hijack the game at all whatsoever. Well, you roll credits on this disaster, and they have their own dedicated spot in the credits rather. And what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 whole people from Sweet Baby Inc., including Kim Belair herself, are involved with this. 3 different script writers, 2 story development credits, okay, and a script, 2 other partial script writers. And for what I've seen so far, and we checked out a couple of trailers, and the fact that you could have 5 SBI script writers, that very much makes sense, because it's a lot of that Marvel dialogue, whoa, that just happened type stuff. But yeah, I haven't watched any gameplay. I know Az, Heel versus Babyface, played 8 hours of the game, but yeah, listen, man, from what I've seen, it looked totally and completely uninspired from the trailer. Just looking like some bog generic third person 3D platformer that would have had revolutionary gameplay mechanics if this was the PS2. But no, man, this is gonna be a big mover. This is such a big mover, and Xbox has such faith in it. It's putting in a highlighted section of Black community games, and I find this to be completely and totally hilarious. You've got South of Midnight, Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, another SBI hijacked game that ended up flopping. Deathloop, I'm pretty sure that one, did about the exact same thing. Starfield, how well is that doing, Bethesda? And for spanking, a game so bad, Square Enix left the Western gaming industry and closed down their studio. You want to go ahead and highlight those? Bruh. What the fuck does Black community games have to do with Starfield? That's kind of wild. Yeah, man, crashes on launch. Big shock, right? Another brutal blow for Sweet Baby Inc. and its embattled CEO, Kim Belair, who, if you go ahead and check those credits one more time, story development and script writer, not just a consultant at all, okay? They had direct work in crafting the narrative of this game, which it sucked, man. Oh my god, from what we've seen and from what I've heard secondhand from people playing this stuff, it's like just another one of these aloof, whoa, that just happened type protagonists. And you've also got, like a fairly dark-skinned protagonist who apparently has a white as snow father. Make that one make sense. But hey, man, maybe the gameplay will sell it, right? And that'll save it. Because I heard that, it's very generic. It's not great. It's not terribly inspired. A lot of it is just walk and talk, and then you just get to these little arena areas that immediately get walled off, and then you just do these uninspired boss battles. But hey, on the bright side, though, the leveling system would fall under one of the control of the likes of Laura Francis, Spencer Baliu, or maybe Cameron Wild. Maybe one of their responsibilities was to interject a mechanic where, the South of Midnight is a game about a black woman who gets powers from picking cotton. I wish that was a joke, but no, it's not cotton. It's called Fluffy, and that makes it better, right? Okay. Well, some defenders tried to soften the expectations, by pointing to Game Pass. Right, yeah, no, yeah, see, it doesn't matter that it's flopping on Steam, because everybody's playing it over on Game Pass, right? We heard that same cope with Avowed. We heard that same cope with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And that's immediately going over to PS5 here. I think that's this month or next month. Yeah, right. It was such a romping success that they have to start putting it on different platforms. Right. South of Midnight barely cracked 1,000 concurrent players on launch. Smash JT, one of the most vocal independent gaming critics, noted that even a paltry 2,500 players would have been embarrassing. Yeah, it didn't even come close. It might hit that over the launch weekend, but nobody's really talking fondly about this game, and at this point in time, it's already falling out of conversation. But yeah, let that sink in. A Microsoft-owned studio released a new title, promoted at major showcases. Yeah, the big one at the beginning of this year, where you had Avowed, Doom: The Dark Ages, which I would be shocked if there isn't a narrative company working in tandem with id Software on that one, mostly because, well, they're owned by Microsoft at this point in time, even though Doom: The Dark Ages probably is going to be pretty awesome, okay? It's probably going to be the best performing game Microsoft has this year, but they might just announce something else coming out in the second half of the year. But still, man, there are games that can outperform just the stench of this stuff. Hell, even Sweet Baby Inc., right? What was their one contribution to God of War Ragnarok? Yeah, we're going to turn Angerbow to black. It's like, oh, okay, cool, thanks, you can see yourself out. No, we're really important and we do good. Yeah, it's like, yeah, tell your story walking. Don't worry about that. Why such an abysmal showing? Yes, the answer lies in the fingerprints of Sweet Baby Inc. left all over the project. Yeah, exactly. Because they're really bad at their jobs, okay? It's not just, they come in and they black the place up. It's like, no. They're just really shit at everything that they do. There's nothing that they've added to a production. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Spider-Man 2. You can point to all of their different failures. You can look at what they do, and none of it's quality. Okay, I wouldn't be advocating for them, but you could go ahead and just kind of roll your eyes really hard if you see their name pop up in the credits of a game. And if you rolled credits on that game and enjoyed it, you could go, well, God, they're a parasite on the industry, but at least they do good work. But this time around, it's like there's 9 credited people straight out of Sweet Baby, okay, and they did nothing good for this game. Nothing at all. That's why people, the moment that company is associated with a product, they are just walking away. Creative teams, public affiliations, yes, have only poured fuel on the fire. The studio's well-documented manager, known online as, Pika Chulita, has a history of divisive rhetoric and well-documented, okay, she's the one that, oh my god, I hate gamers. It's like, it's such a common riposte for a bunch of people that want all of the adulation and they want all the praise for working in the gaming industry, but they don't want to be associated with gamers. It's so wild, right? You don't see this amount of visceral hatred for your customers in any other industry. This is why Western gaming is on the brink of collapse. Anyways, as if the player counts weren't bad enough, the content of the game itself is being widely mocked. Full playthroughs of the YouTube clock in at around 7.5 hours, which would be short even for a budget indie title, let alone a supposed AA showcase, yes, from a first-party studio. Yeah, 7.5 hours. Holy crap, man. That's, like, if it's a tight experience, right, where, you know, you're playing something and it's a memorable 7.5 hours, that would be one thing, okay? But yes, as one user on Steam wrote, looks kind of cool. No DEI rot in the game so far. The main problem is the gameplay. It's so boring after an hour and a half. I asked myself, do I want to continue? And the answer is no. That's just not a bad review. It's a death sentence. Yeah, exactly. And so Compulsion Games, now they're just blocking critics because guess what? Anybody who pushes back against stuff. I seen Vara Dark, and she posted this screenshot. Blocked by Compulsion. She was going hard at them. I'd imagine Smash is probably in the same camp on that one because here's the thing. They don't want to hear feedback. They don't actually want to improve. They just simply want their ideology reaffirmed. Compulsion thinks that they're doing some great stuff over here by just simply putting a black chick in a game and making it lame. They think that that's the solution. Okay? That we need to have representation. Everybody needs to be seen. Point to one example where this shit has worked. Oh wait, you can't, because there used to be a point in time where people of all cultures and creeds were playing games and didn't give a shit about this until the untalented hacks with their gender studies degrees weaseled their way into the industry thanks to blue-pilled simps and a heaping dose of nepotism. Until that started to be the issue and these teams started to get so bloated, HR departments started to get so rampant and oversized. The people working on games used to love games. The people working on games used to make them for gamers. But now we're making them to push causes. Causes that nobody wants to hear, that aren't important outside of catering to the sensibilities of a few coastal elites. And you see those few coastal creatures turn out, and it looks like there's about 1,400 of them. Good for you, I guess. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.